turn. Yeah.
How's it going? This is Ed Carrasco with NMR Magazine. I'm with Eric Jacobus. He's an independent stuntman and actor who stars as Stryker in Mortal Kombat Legacy Season 2 on Machinima. Tell us how you got your role as Stryker in Mortal Kombat Legacy.
I'm Eric Jacobus. I've known Larnell for a few years now, and Larnell called me up one day. He said, I think you'd be right for the Stryker role. Why don't you send in a video, read some lines, send a video in. And they called me in. I'm an actor who does his own stunts, and I can do fight choreography. I seem to fit the role pretty well. I mean, I kind of play an underdog typically in the movies that I work on. Stryker is that kind of underdog character. He's a human in a world with a bunch of different superheroes. He's just got a gun and a taser. He doesn't have fireballs, and that fit me really well. So I was really happy to be involved in that.
Would you mind, telling us what is Stryker's fatality in this series?
I can't give that away. I'm sorry. I would love to, but probably can't talk about that.
Now, what kind of training do you have to go through before you started filming for your role?
Generally a stunt guy should, have a good martial arts background. I mean, I started a little bit late in life. I started when I was 20. So, but even then, it's been 10 years of martial arts, and I can do whatever whatever's asked of me. But also being able to do basic falls. That's why, a lot of martial art classes already teach falls, which is great for a stunt person. That's why martial arts and stunt work mix really well together. Like whatever other miscellaneous skills you can get, like parkour, acrobatics, it always helps. But in general, just the ability to do some martial arts and some falls is ideal. But for the character, for Stryker, I did go through a little bit of I went through a little bit of firearms training. I went and I got my my handgun safety certificate in the process, and I figured it would just be a good idea to do that while I was playing this character, and that worked out really well. Now I have that, which is great, and also when we were choreographing the fight, we were using different weapons in the choreography, and Larnell would drill me on those weapons, and I learned a little bit of tonfa from a karate guy that I work with, and yeah.
Walk us through a typical day on the set of Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Well, I would get up at around 5 because call time was at 5:45, and my buddy Kim, who plays Ermac, he would drive me to set, and we would go in there. We'd get made up for about an hour. The first day I got my hair cut on set there, in the makeup trailer, and that in the makeup is kind of like the part where you can catch some sleep too. I mean, because we would go to bed at maybe 1 or 2 in the morning, and we'd get up at 5 to do these really early call times. And the early call time was because we had to shoot in the daylight. We couldn't just shoot in the studio, so we were limited on time. And so, like in the makeup chair, you could kind of like sleep a little bit, and then you crack. That's like the fun time of the day, where it's kind of relaxed. And you'd see other cast members come in. Like that's where I met Casper Van Dien, and it's kind of like sitting in the makeup chair and like, oh, Casper, nice to meet you, and then after that we get suited up with our outfits, go into the trailer, get all our stuff on, walk up to set by the time that. I don't know, around 7:30 we'd get up to the actual location, which was underneath, for my scenes, it was underneath the Hollywood sign in LA. And block it out for a little while, and the crew was like all ready to go by the time I got there. I mean, everybody was just kind of waiting there for us. And Kevin already had some extra guys setting up shot, like they were doubling me and the other actor. And they were already lining up the shot, and they already knew what shots they needed, and they said, okay, Stryker, if they needed anything else on me, like, oh, today I don't have the taser, we'd, like, fix all that stuff real quick, and the prop people would be all over me, and then suddenly I would look different. And then I'd go over to the spot, and within about 30 minutes we would shoot. It was quick. It's a lot quicker than I'm used to. And, we'd do, like, 3 or 4 takes or so, and nail it. hit some more angles, move on. And, you know, typical breaking, taking a break for lunch. Lunch was awesome because they had this great catering service there, and we would all eat, and we'd sit down and, you know, talk, and the day would end at 5, and then we'd get cleaned up and get out of there, go home, party, go to bed really late. But all the fights had already been choreographed, so we didn't have to really go over the fights very much. Like we already memorized the entire thing, and they were broken up into segments. And so before the shoot, a few weeks before, Larnell and me and whoever else was doing the fights, we would choreograph it, and we would get the sections. And then on set, you know, we would say, okay, we're doing section 1, and then we'd shoot it, we'd cut, and then, okay, let's do section 1 again, and they would get a different shot of the action, and they would cut. And we'd do that until the fight was done.
How has Mortal Kombat Legacy been different from all the other projects you've done in the past?
My projects have typically been under $1 million each, so we do very low-budget independent action films. And so the schedules tend to be a little bit more relaxed. I mean, some days we go there and we work on a fight scene and it's a little bit slow. We take our time to kind of improvise a lot. And then we're also kind of strained on resources. We sleep on the floor. That's typical of indie filmmaking. Mortal Kombat Legacy is like the real deal, you know. It's over $1 million. I don't know how much, but I know that there were a lot of people there on set. Whenever I needed, if I said, I need a knee pad, and I'd kind of hold my hand out, and then it would just be in my hand. Like that kind of stuff happens when you're working on really good sets, and when you're working with really good people, too. And all the people on this, there were like there must have been 80 people on set. And that's a big deal for someone that's, typically working with a crew of 5 people like me. We just kind of go out, we get the shots that we need however we can, and run away before the police show up. Here, we had a beach, and we had it locked off. There's an 18,000 watt light just kind of like lighting up the beach at night, and it's pretty surreal. It's like it's all really controlled, and you can do anything that you want, which is great. It's great for an action movie especially. You don't have to worry about getting kicked out because you broke some drywall or something.
Outside of Mortal Kombat Legacy, I understand you have a YouTube channel. And one of your videos, which recreates a fight scene in Star Wars, went viral with more than 500,000 views. How did that come about?
I've wanted to get a GoPro for a while now, and I realized that there's an untapped market of GoPro fight scenes. And I realized that doing a fight scene with a GoPro, which is basically a camera that's about this big, and you can put it on your chest or on your head or anywhere really, but the idea is that it's tiny, so you could put it here and do a first-person fight scene. So you would see the hands fighting and doing the blocks or hitting people with weapons. And I always like seeing those when they come out, but they're usually I don't know, they're few and far between. And I realized nobody's done a lightsaber fight, and that's like perfect for this kind of thing. And that night when I realized that, I went out and I got a GoPro. The next day, I was thinking, like, if we don't do this now, somebody else is going to do it before us. And so we just picked a spot behind our gym. I know some friends from the Golden Gate Knights. They showed up and they had all their Star Wars gear on. They said, "What kind of costume you want?" I said, "Dress me up like a Jedi." And then we had Darth Vader show up. And Darth Vader came out, "Yeah, I got my Darth Vader outfit." And he pulled out this huge box, put it on. He had his red saber. I had my the blue one. And they choreographed the sword work, and I choreographed some of the other things, like the force pull and then messing with the console on Vader's chest, because nobody's done that. And then we went and shot it, and it took a half hour.
A half hour, just to get it all perfect.
Just to get it all perfect. I mean, we only had a half hour too because that GoPro battery dies really quick.
Oof.
And like you can't review GoPro footage without the LCD screen, and I didn't buy the LCD screen for it, so all we could do is view it live on an iPad. So yeah, it was fun though, and I can't wait to do another one. We want to do a sequel, and we've got other ideas in mind.
What other ideas do you have in mind?
Oh, I don't know if I want to give that away. I do want to do something with a zombie, though. I think that the there's zombie potential there with GoPros.
Now let's get back to your beginnings. What inspired you to become a stuntman?
I think that the main inspiration had to be Jackie Chan. I discovered him late in life, like martial arts. I discovered it late in life. I came from a small town, and so, when I was 16 or 17, I saw my first Jackie Chan film, and I just got so into it. I would travel down to Chinatown, which is like a 4-hour drive. I would go there every other weekend just to buy VCDs, back when video CDs were like a thing. And
I remember those.
Yeah, you get Hong Kong films on these like CDs, basically, and the video quality was terrible, but that was the only way that I could see really rare Hong Kong martial art movies. And then but the first thing I did was I just found the most hardcore Jackie Chan movie I could find, which was Drunken Master 2. And it ended up being like the best of all of the Hong Kong films that I ever saw after that. And when I was watching it, I remember I was thinking, like, how could a guy like me do this? Would it be possible? And I just went for it. And when people ask me, how do you get into stunt work? I say, you just got to pick up a camera and go. The more you wait for people to help you push your career, like, the longer it'll take, and the more you're going to annoy people by being needy. I hate to say it, but that's just how it goes now, especially since everybody can go get a camera and make their own video. Nobody's patient with anyone who just says, like, well, I don't want to make a movie. Why don't you just film me? But you just got to do it yourself. And that's what we did for 12 years.
Why is it important for you to transition from mainstream entertainment to YouTube?
Well, I wouldn't say that I've done very much mainstream. My presence has mostly been on YouTube. That's how I was discovered and got into Mortal Kombat, and then I'm kind of like going back to YouTube again, but like we're trying to hit it bigger this time with YouTube. Now that the Star Wars video came out, I think we have a better idea of how to actually be more successful on YouTube. I want to do both. I think that there's room for both for any person who wants to pursue a career in stunt work, or if you just want to do one, that's perfectly fine. The thing about YouTube is that it's really it's great for really creative people, and the reason that it's so great too is because you don't have to wait for anybody to get content done. You can just make something and put it online and see how well it does in the marketplace. And we're very confident in our product. I think that when we start pushing more stuff on YouTube, it's going to do really well for us. It's not a huge moneymaker, from what I understand, but there is something there. You can make a living doing it, and we want to try that. We really want to do this. And then whenever I can take the mainstream gigs, I'll take them. Definitely, I'd love to. I'd love to do both.
What does the future hold for the action martial arts genre on YouTube?
I think that the martial arts genre on YouTube really it has a lot of growing to do. Right now, I think we're really, people are just kind of getting their feet wet with filming fight scenes and putting sound effects in, putting it to cool music, shooting it well. That's definitely, that's really essential. And without that, the fight scene is just not going to hold up. They're going to suck. But then what really needs to happen is martial art fight scenes need to go beyond the martial arts. When I say that, I mean they need to go beyond the martial art moves. A fight scene between two people can only go so far if the focus is just on the moves. If there's actual story, if there's some way to connect with the audience in a very meaningful way, that fight scene quadruples in impact. It just makes it so much better. And I don't see it a whole lot right now. I see a lot of people doing really amazing martial art movies, but they're not very good storytellers. They don't do very much comedy. The comedy is just kind of like on the nose. It's not actually good jokes. I think that the future is bright, obviously. You can only really get better, I would think. And I think that YouTube will be the place to go for good fight scenes, because as we keep seeing, the big mainstream films are often so big that you don't really get a good fight scene anymore some of the time. You actually need the smaller scale projects to get a good fight scene. Otherwise, it's like, well, if you have a $50 million budget, you're not going to spend it on a fight scene. You're going to spend it on a car chase with a bunch of guns and explosions and stuff like that, and you lose the fight scene. So there's a place for the low-budget action movie, and martial arts fits that so well. And as we keep seeing budgets balloon bigger and bigger in Hollywood and in Asia, too, as the budgets get bigger, we kind of lose the fight scene. And so it's going to be up to the YouTube people and the independent film people in general that release DVDs and Blu-rays onto the market. It's going to be up to them to make the good fights.
Which action channels on YouTube do you follow?
Some of my favorite YouTube action guys are Ulrich Bruckholz in Germany, and his channel is called Flatcoin. I think he does really, really good stuff. He does like good visual effects with martial arts. Lazy Brown Productions in Chicago, they're another independent stunt team, and they do great stuff, and they do a whole different slate of kinds of fight scenes, really high energy. The Young Masters, I think they're also in Germany, and they do amazing Hong Kong style fight scenes, and I think they're some of the best at it. And then, God, there are so many, because if I could give you one more, I would say Andy Long Nguyen, who is kind of, his group is called the Magnificent Fighters, and also in Germany. Germany's got a lot of these. And Andy made the big step recently of going into Chinese Zodiac, and he's in the end fight of Chinese Zodiac. And so he went from being, you know, like independent stunt guy, just kind of making his own videos all the time, to handing Jackie Chan a DVD and saying, hey, can I get thrown around by you a little bit? And sure enough, he's in Chinese Zodiac. And he did it, you know. So.
All right. Thanks for talking to us, Eric.
Thank you.
We sing together out of key. Although we try, it seems we just can't find our harmony. We just don't fit each other's frequencies.